Turmoil inside a UN member country. This time it's Sri Lanka, and the United Nations Security Council is barely heard from.
We've had very tepid statements from most of the members of the Security Council, some a little stronger than others, but the vast majority of the Security Council have really remained on the sidelines.
Tens of thousands of people are caught in the fighting between government soldiers and Tamil rebels. It's the kind of situation UN countries had in mind when the organization approved a commitment to protect citizens when their own government can't or won't.
This responsibility is not simply a matter of states. States being ready to come to each other's aid when attacked. Important though that is, it also includes our shared responsibility to protect populations from genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity.
But several members of the Security Council, including powers Russia and China, continue to insist a crisis like Sri Lanka's should be dealt with internally by the government in power.
That was CNN's Richard Roth reporting from the UN as the war in Sri Lanka reached its peak. So what should the world do about such conflicts? Joining me again, the former Australian Foreign Minister Gareth Evans and Alan Kupperman, a fellow at the Woodrow Wilson International Centre in Washington, D.C., also the author of The Limits of Humanitarian Intervention, Genocide in Rwanda. Right now, Sri Lanka seems to be saying that it is acceding to some international pressure to look into some of the actions, alleged human rights abuses, some have even said genocide during the war. Do you hold any hope, Gareth Evans, that they will actually do something about it, hold people accountable?
Well, not on their past record, which has been quite lamentable in terms of commissions of inquiry and everything else. It's a great pity that we've seen this from Sri Lanka because it is against the trend of the way the world is reacting to these internal crises. What previously was regarded as absolutely no one else's business is gradually moving to the stage as a result of this acceptance of the responsibility to protect doctrine, where it is acknowledged to be everyone's business, even though the delivery is sometimes pretty weak and the follow-through is not very smart, as was the case in Sri Lanka. We are making a difference.
Well, where exactly?
Because take Kenya, for example. Take Kenya 18 months ago and compare and contrast that with Rwanda in 1994.
But Kenya was diplomatic.
Yeah, but of course it was a diplomatic solution, but that's what the responsibility to protect is all about. It's not just about sending in the Marines. This is the whole point. It is a combination of appropriate and effective responses, whatever is necessary to prevent and then to react to these catastrophic atrocity situations.
Do you believe, just as R2P was coming up, we had the Darfur genocide, called genocide by the United States. Nobody intervened there. Great sermons about
there was real problems
flight zones, military intervention. It hasn't happened.
There was real problems about a full-scale coercive military intervention, as any humanitarian worker will tell you. If they'd gone into all guns blazing Western Sudan, 2.5 million people in those refugee camps would have had their lives put at risk, and also it would have thrown into chaos the very fragile North-South peace agreement. The truth of the matter is that humanitarian intervention in the old 1990s sense is not the way of thinking about these situations. What is necessary is to think about a whole variety of strategies, of which military stuff is only the most extreme and only in very limited cases. But the important thing is to get this sense of engagement and responsibility, and that's changing.